Hello again everyone, this is Chris and I am back once again with some brand new trailer reaction videos after a very long hiatus it seems, and it has been a long time, and I really apologise for that for anyone that's been following my reaction videos and stuff like that. I guess I just needed a break. I kind of got into the motions with doing the reaction videos, and then before I know it there was a whole backlog of trailers that I was behind on. And, you know, one thing leads to another, and I guess I just needed some time away from the reaction videos for a while. But I'm very happy to be jumping back on them right now, and we're playing a little bit of catch-up. This is a trailer that came out roughly about a month ago at this point, maybe just slightly over. This is Halloween Official Trailer 1. Now, this isn't the 1978 original, this is an upcoming sequel. And you might be thinking, well, there has been a sequel, Halloween 2, and there's also been a sequel to the remake that came out for this thing. This is the new canon sequel, I guess, is what we're going for now. This is the upcoming Halloween movie from this year, directed by David Gordon Green, starring Jamie Lee Curtis once again, and I think this one's probably more under the guidance of John Carpenter than maybe some of the other sequels and the remake were, etc. It's just really annoying that when we get a remake like this, or even a sequel, after so many years, they tend to always just give it exactly the same title as the original, which is really, really not helpful. So now you've got Halloween 1978 and Halloween 2018, but we'll run with it. Usually I talk a little bit about these things before going into the trailer, and I want to try and keep it as brief as I possibly can. But I mean, the 1978 original Halloween is without doubt one of the most iconic Halloween horror movies of all time. I don't want to say it kick-started the whole slasher genre, although a lot of movies will have you believe that. I think it definitely popularized it. I think that the slasher genre was obviously a genre that had been going for a long time before that, and I think Halloween really brought the slasher genre back with a new flavor, a new style, and made it very grounded and terrifying as well. And it's a great movie, and I go back to it every other Halloween. Every Halloween I grab a bunch of horror movies, and this is probably always one of the ones that I grab to watch on that day. I'm really excited that Jamie Lee Curtis is coming back from this thing. She was one of my favourite actresses back in the 70s into the 80s more so, and the 90s as well. For example, A Fish Called Wonder is one of my favourite movies of hers. True Lies as well. She had this very strong-willed, headstrong, independent, alluring, seductive quality to all of her roles, and I absolutely loved her character in those films. So it's nice to see her come back for this as well. Although, I might be wrong here, and I'm going to say this out right now before I get some angry horror fans type in. I've only ever seen the original Halloween movie, John Carpenter's original 1978 movie. I think I've caught bits of some of the sequels. I think I saw a little bit of H2O, the 20th anniversary movie they did for Halloween. And then I probably saw a bit of another one which I can't even remember, but if I'm right, I'm under the impression that Jamie Lee Curtis has already come back to the franchise after the first Halloween movie. I think it was Halloween Resurrection maybe, or it could have been H2O. Maybe someone can correct me in the comments down below. So it's kind of weird that she's also coming back for this. But as I said in my intro, that this is pretty much just like a wiping the slate clean. This is a direct follow-up to the original Halloween movie. Even though we already got a sequel to that, I guess they're just kind of wiping the slate clean, and this is going to take the place as the next natural sequel. I'm excited. It'll be fun to see, because I've actually... Since I've turned 18, it was really weird, and I know I'm going off a massive tangent here, but before I was 18, there were so many 18 rated movies, R-rated movies that I wanted to see in the theatre and obviously couldn't because I wasn't old enough. I don't know if people in the US have that same problem. I think you can pretty much go and see an R-rated movie whichever age you are, as long as you're accompanied by an adult or you've got permission. In the UK, you have to be that age to go and see the movie. But now I have turned 18. I mean, I'm 25 now. The amount of 18 films I've been to see at the movie theatre are actually really small. I've probably seen about maybe 2 18 rated movies since I've turned 18. It's really weird, but I'm definitely be seeing this one, and according to what I've read a little bit about it as well, it's meant to be really scary. And I hope they incorporate some of that style, and the pacing and the tension and the well-placed jump scares that were in John Carpenter's original. I hope they apply some of that same filmmaking sensibilities from that original, so you do have a good connective tissue between the original and then this one now, which is effectively going to be the sequel. So with all that being said, I know I said I was going to keep it brief, and I tend to ramble a lot on these reaction videos. We're going to watch the trailer together now. I'm going to talk much more about it afterwards, but I'm definitely looking forward to this one. It'd be nice to see how they continue the story. So I'm going to click play now.
I've waited for him. 2, 3. We're on.
We're here to investigate a patient that killed 3 innocent teenagers on a Halloween in 1978. He was shot by his own psychiatrist and taken into custody that night. And has spent the last 40 years in captivity.
Is it Michael?
I have something you might like to see.
Say, isn't he going to be old as hell in this movie now? Why would you do that? Why would you do that? But yeah, he's going to be like an old guy now, like.
Turns into a nutcase this time of year. Yeah, I mean, your grandmother is Laurie Strode.
God, that street just looks so creepy.
Wasn't it her brother who murdered all those babysitters?
No, it was not her brother. That's something that people made up.
Do you know that I pray every night that he would escape?
The whole brother thing.
What the hell did you do that for?
So I can kill him.
Yeah. True Lies back in this bitch.
The bus crashed.
Mom, what bus crashed?
Michael escaped.
Oh, the boiler suit's back.
Somebody's in here.
Why would you say that? Occupied. That's right, son. You show that turd who's boss. I thought he was dunking his face in the toilet there for a second.
For this night.
Oh, this theme though.
He's waited for me. I've waited for him. Get out of the room! Get inside! You don't believe in the boogeyman? He's here! Michael! You should.
Can you close the closet door?
Dead body? It's gonna be Michael Myers. Did he just take like the door to the face like 3 times? Like, ow, ow. Wow, okay. Not gonna lie, I was actually really kind of apprehensive about this trailer because I thought, you know, they're gonna resort to typical modern day horror sensibilities and things like that. I'm a huge horror fan, but I am very, very picky when it comes to my horror movies. I'm a little bit of a snob when it comes to horror movies. And modern horror for me has really struggled. There's next to nothing out there in terms of modern horror that I really gravitate towards and would, you know, buy and own as part of my own horror collection. There's been some things out there that I like. For example, I love the Conjuring films. I think they're kind of like nice throwbacks while still being very modern for a modern audience. It Follows, I enjoyed the first time, but I haven't seen that a second time. There's really few and far between now a good horror movie, so I'm really hoping that this one sort of brings it back. Does it look very action-packed? Yes, but I'm guessing most of the action's going to take place. You're going to have some like close calls in the middle of the film, but I think the big like moment at the end where she's got the gun and they're in the house, I think that's going to occupy the entire third act, and, you know, could be very tense. Like if it's just Laurie in the house with Michael Myers and she's sort of like going through the house and like trying to work out where he is, it feels like it's been such a long time since I've seen a horror movie like that where it really can build that tension. I'm thinking like the original When a Stranger Calls, where it plays on that silence and like the creaks in the house and everything, and you know someone's in the house with you. It takes it back to like basically the most primal fear that people have is like an intruder in the house. Unless you live in America and you believe in the Second Amendment and you've got like a fucking shotgun underneath your pillow and you can just like blast them away, then like fair play. But there is always still that fear that, you know, someone might break into your house, and how do you react in that situation, especially when that person is Michael Myers. There was a line in this trailer, and I'm again like, I hope someone in the comments can like clarify this for me, as I have only watched the first Halloween movie. But there was a line here where someone said like, wasn't Michael Myers Laurie's brother? And she goes like, oh no, that was just a legend someone made up. I think the whole revelation that Michael Myers was Laurie's brother came into it in Halloween 2. The original Halloween 2. It's really annoying that I have to keep saying this now. And then I think they kind of ran with that throughout the rest of the movies. And then I remember Laurie coming back when she was older, and I think she was in like she met him in a mental institute or something, and then I think that Michael Myers shoots her out of a window, or she gets shot somehow and falls out and dies. And I think that was the last time that Jamie Lee Curtis came back to these movies. So it's nice to see they're wiping the slate clean, and it still looks like they're, you know, continuing the story in a good, believable way. The fact that now that's a whole legend about him being her brother, I guess, is sort of... You can look now at Halloween 2 onwards as like a trajectory, as like a what if this happened. I guess that was all a legend, that was all made up stories, you could now argue. It's really great seeing Jamie Lee Curtis back as well. She looks like she's bringing her A game once again. It's a real shame that we haven't seen her in many movies recently. I can't imagine that she's like completely disappeared for acting, but in terms of like the mainstream, she just hasn't been anywhere to be seen. And I don't want to make this like a whole debate about older women in cinema, and like, you know, it tends to be the studios kind of, you know, don't want anything to do with like older women in Hollywood anymore. I don't know if it's to do with that. She's probably done a lot of stuff. I just haven't seen anything in a long time, probably since like Freaky Friday from like the early 2000s or whenever that movie came out. I don't know what else to say. I'm looking forward to seeing Michael Myers as well in this movie, because if we're going now from like the continuity of the first one, where Michael Myers was just, you know, just a bad kid, a bad apple from the start, naturally evil, like he wasn't raised in a bad home or anything, he just kind of one day as a kid snapped, murdered his sister, and then obviously so many years later haunted and stalked the neighborhood where he grew up again on Halloween. Now 40 years on, like in terms of like a serial killer or something, that could be very interesting. We see him at this compound, and for some reason this guy provokes him with a mask. Like, why would you do that? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Guy's locked up, he's out of harm's way, why would you aggravate him? I don't know if he's going to break out there. He'll probably find a way to sneak out. Maybe someone lets him out. I have no idea what's going to happen with this thing, but he's an old guy now. Are they still going to imply those in hindsight fairly ridiculous scares? And I think like when they hit the sequels it got even more ridiculous, where they almost made Michael Myers supernatural. The guy got shot multiple times and he was fine. He fell out of buildings, he was fine. Like the guy is there 1 minute and then all of a sudden he's like practically fucking teleported halfway across the house in a completely different location. It works in terms of a visual for a horror film, but if you are making this as realistic as possible, like this is actually just a normal guy in a boiler suit with a William Shatner mask on with a knife. How can he be doing all this crazy stuff? It doesn't really work that way, so I hope they like bring it back. In terms of the director, the guy's directed like Pineapple Express. I think Danny McBride has helped with the screenplay for this thing. They're very comedic films, and I'm sure this movie will have some comic elements to it, but I hope that doesn't overshadow the movie. John Carpenter himself was really unhappy with Rob Zombie's take on the Halloween film, especially in terms of the character of Michael Myers and how they went into his past and showed that, you know, it was his upbringing that made him bad. Like, that's not what Michael Myers is. Like, I guess that can be interesting as like a side thing if you do enjoy the remake. It's at least something different they added to it. But for me, the true terrifying quality of Michael Myers is there is no explanation. You know, they often say that if you look at the Joker in The Dark Knight, the less you know about that character's past, the more intriguing they are, the more terrifying they are, and I think that's absolutely the case with Michael Myers. I've been talking for a hell of a long time on this trailer, more so than I thought I would, but I'm definitely looking forward to this one. I can't wait for another trailer, and it'll be just great to see a Halloween movie back in the theatre. I kind of hope that they re-release the original 1978 movie as well around the same time, so you can see both. Maybe you can do like a back-to-back or something like that. Or for all of you horror aficionados out there, maybe you're going to do a marathon and watch absolutely all of them before this. Power to you if you're going to do that, but that'll do it for my reaction to Halloween official trailer 1. Be sure to comment, subscribe, let me know what you thought of this trailer. Are you looking forward to this movie? Any information you can give me regarding all of the countless sequels, please do that as well. But I can't wait for this thing, and I really hope this comes back with a bang. That'll do it for me right now, though. There's going to be a hell of a lot more reaction videos now that I'm back doing these things. Got to backdate quite a lot, got to get a lot edited, but it's good to be back, and we're hitting Comic-Con this weekend as well, so you know there's going to be countless other trailers coming out that will absolutely give my opinions on as well. That'll do it for me right now. Until the next video, I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.